Hey everybody and welcome back to Am I the Jerk, where in today's stories the OP refuses to share his food with his pregnant wife. This next posted by Pancast. My boyfriend and I met a few friends for drinks this evening. He was finishing some work, so I left the flat first and he met up with us later. On our walk home, he abruptly stopped me and asked if I had the key. Small context, our lock recently broke and until it's properly replaced, we have a temporary lock with only one key. Typically the rule is the last person to leave the flat takes the key, unless we know the other person will be home earlier. I said I didn't because I assumed he would take it as he left the flat last. He became extremely upset and agitated. He demanded to know why I hadn't taken the key. He said that he was sure I'd used it last, and so I must have misplaced it, causing him to forget it. He repeatedly said things along the lines of, "We're F because of you. You realize that?" And "I can't believe you did this." Towards the beginning, I assumed he was joking, and so I laughed a little, which prompted him to snarl, "You think this is an effing joke? You locked us out. You lost the key." He continued for over 5 minutes. By the time we got to the flat, I was nearly crying. We stood outside the flat for another 5 minutes while my boyfriend berated me. He had me peek over the windows to look into the space where we normally leave the key, and he said, "It's not there now, is it, right? So whose fault is that?" I sat down on the steps and buried my face in my hands and thought I was going to be sick. Finally, he said, "All right then, let's go inside." I looked up to see him taking the key out of his pocket. It was all a joke. A joke. Now he's genuinely angry at me because I directly went to the shower and have been very quiet for the remainder of the evening. He says I can't take a joke. I hate being the humorless B word, but I really feel this went beyond a joke. Am I being an overly sensitive jerk? TLDR, my boyfriend spent about 5 to 10 minutes berating me before losing the key. Turns out he had the key, and now I'm hurt and annoyed. Am I the jerk? Okay, OP, so let me get this straight. So you and your boyfriend went out with some friends to have a real nice evening, just have a good time. On the way back, he decides, you know, it's gonna be funny. Let's just berate my girlfriend for no reason out in public where everybody can see because it'll be funny. Hee hee, she'll know it's a joke. So by the time you start crying and get back, he's still going on and then finally decides, okay, it's gone far enough. Here, we'll finish the joke. Look, let's go inside. No, you're absolutely not the jerk, and you guys need to have a sit down so you can explain to him that is completely out of line and he should never be doing that again because that is unacceptable. This next post is by Nick Laco. My 25-year-old daughter recently moved in with my wife and I. She's been married for 2 years and it's already falling apart. I partially blame myself because I didn't think it was going to work, but I also didn't think it was my place to tell her. Her husband seems bored and checked out, and I wish she could just cut her losses now, but again, I don't think it's my place to say it. She's never really liked my wife. She doesn't give her a particular reason, but they are pretty much polar opposites, and admittedly, I moved on very quickly after my divorce. She's already acted like my wife was a fling, but it's been like 13 years now. She's approached me the other day and asked if I could get my wife to wear more clothing. We have a pool and live by the ocean, so she spends a lot of time in a bikini. She also exercises a lot and will hang out in shorts and a sports bra. I've noticed my son-in-law looking at her, but it's awkward as hell, so I don't know what to say. I told my daughter that her stepmom has the right to wear what she wants in her own house, and that my wife is not responsible for a man who can't keep his eyes to himself. She got mad, but I told her that her marital issues are not my wife's responsibility. Now she's avoiding everyone, and I feel kind of like a jerk, but it's my wife's house too, and she would laugh in my face if I told her to put more clothes on. Okay, OP, so while on one hand, I don't really feel like you're the jerk in this situation. It is you're in your wife's house, you guys can do what you please. On the same hand, it does sound like you guys have a much deeper issue going on in that household right now that you all need to like get together and figure out what you're going to do about. But that's just my personal opinion. This next post by Throwaway, Am I the Jerk 123456. Am I the jerk for wearing jewelry to college class? No. No, absolutely not. That's ridiculous. But we're gonna go ahead and read the story anyway, for the funsies. I, a 20-year-old female, collect jewelry as a hobby, and my family was fortunate enough to be able to support that hobby. I mainly try to choose more low-key, less popular pieces, rather than ones that are more recognizable. An example, the Cartier Love bracelet, typically my everyday jewelry. I wear 2 VCA bracelets, a few simple gold and diamond thin rings, and a diamond pendant. I add or subtract a watch, more necklaces, etc. as needed. I would estimate the total cost of what I wear every day to be around $40,000. Total cost of my jewelry collection is altogether probably around $120,000. I know I'm incredibly fortunate to be given this by my parents, but it's not an incredibly uncommon thing in our community. Rolex for graduation, Barkin for the 16th birthday, BMW to get your license, type of environment. So I could wear jewelry to high school and it'd be pretty normal, considering the other girls in our grade did too. At college, I met a lot of new people with different backgrounds, which was eye-opening. I learned more about privilege and the experiences of other people on the other end of the wealth spectrum. I try not to blatantly show off our wealth, and certainly don't want to make any of my classmates feel lesser for something entirely out of their control. If I wear a noticeably branded or prominent piece, If asked, I'll just say it's fake or something like that. I don't use expensive bags or wear designer clothing, but jewelry is a very personal thing for me, and most of my pieces are quite sentimental. The jewelry that I wear every day is pretty low key. It's not like I have paved diamonds everywhere, and arguably the average person wouldn't know the price tag. We had a discussion in class once about socioeconomic status, privilege, etc., and one of my classmates, M, who was speaking at length about her family's financial hardship, called me out saying, "I think it's disgusting that Amy, fake name for myself, can morally wear all that jewelry knowing that people are dying. Like, put more money towards charity. It's unfair and honestly in such bad taste." She went on, but that's a snippet that's more relevant than the rest. I was embarrassed, but I didn't want more conflict, so I didn't respond. It did make class incredibly uncomfortable for me for the rest of the year, specifically because I got anonymous online harassment afterwards. And I have found a lot less joy in jewelry as a result. I stopped wearing much, if at all, most days. I won't sell it because the pieces are tied to important days and events in my life, graduation, major accomplishments, etc. My parents think that I should wear it because they paid so much for it, which is valid, but I feel like M might be in the right to say it's just too insensitive. Would I be the jerk for wearing jewelry in my college classes whenever we're in person again? Okay, OP, so I know at the very beginning I said no, but let me go ahead and elaborate a little bit more. I'm sorry for being very blunt here, but you're being absolutely ridiculous to even think that potentially you are the jerk in situation for wearing jewelry you like to wear. Like you said, it's not like you're flaunting it. It's not like you're showing off to everybody and bragging about how like rich you are. You just like wearing it. You like looking nice. You like feeling nice. So that's absolutely within your own rights. And if she doesn't like that, if she feels some type of way about that, she can go fuck herself. How about that? This next post is by accountant patient 328. Am I the jerk for refusing to share food with my pregnant wife anymore? She started doing this thing where when we order food, she tells me she doesn't want something I am getting. A milkshake, for example. When we get her food, she'll ask for a bite. No problem. But it's never just one bite or even half my food. She'll finish it all. After this kept happening, I thought I could just order two of whatever I was getting and it would work. Wrong. If I order an extra for her after she tells me no, she never eats it, so it goes to waste. The same thing happens if I cook. I eat meat, and she does not and has not for years, but she recently started wanting some of it, and then would eat all of it herself the same way she's been doing with our takeout. If I ask her if she wants me to fix her a portion for something, she says no because she doesn't eat meat, and will even get upset at me for asking because I am trying to get her to eat meat. I do prep for myself, and the story is the same thing too. She eats the meals I have prepped for lunch. This happens all the time now, at almost every meal. It never matters what I do or how I try to plan ahead because the result's the same. I finally got so fed up with having to always find something else for myself and started refusing to give her any food. I told her if she wants her own, then let me know and I'll get it for her, but otherwise she can't have any of mine. I tried to be reasonable and compromise, but she has given me no other choice. She thinks I'm an ogre for refusing to share food with her since she is having my child and I need to support her. But all I'm asking for is for her to stop eating all of my food after I've given her every chance to have her own. Am I the jerk? Okay, so OP Finnegan7921 says it about as best as I can really think. Not the jerk. You offered to prepare her an extra portion so you could have yours and she could eat as well. Next time, prepare the extra, stick it somewhere it'll keep warm, and when she's done eating yours, bring it out and finish your dinner. When she asks what's going on, tell her that you made extra because you knew she was going to eat most of your food. Which really seems to be the best solution. Like, I don't know if confronting her directly about it would work or if you haven't already, but I feel like your best bet is to do that and hopefully that'll help her realize what it is that she's doing so it'll prevent it from happening in the future. Okay, everybody, I just want to give you a heads up beforehand. This next subject may be a little touchy for you and you may be very sensitive to it depending on your situation. I just wanted to warn you beforehand. Our next post is by GGHDBD. Am I the jerk for making my wife tell our daughter that she aborted her brother? Throwaway title sounds bad. A few years ago, my wife got pregnant with our second child. The first who is my daughter, that is 14. We eventually found out that our child is going to be male. I told my wife not to tell our daughter she is getting a brother until we finalize their decision to keep him. Wife ignored me and told our daughter she is getting a brother. A few weeks later, my wife told me she's going on a week-long vacation, and I agreed. When she came back, I found out she had gotten an abortion. I was upset she did not tell me the real reason she went on vacation. Now, what I was most upset about was how our daughter would react to her abortion. My wife told me to deal with the problem. I refused and told her she needs to tell our daughter what she did as she caused the issue. My wife eventually told our daughter and our daughter started crying. Now my daughter is 18. My daughter has not talked to her mother in 4 years or forgave her after countless therapy sessions. Alright guys, I know this is a very touchy subject and one that I know can be very sensitive for some people, so I don't feel like I really have the right to be judging people one way or another on this. If you have your thoughts on it, feel free to post in the comments down below. Make sure to be keeping it civil, and that's really all I have to say on this one. This next post is by The Fullest House. So I have 4 kids. a 6-year-old girl, a 4-year-old boy, a 3-year-old boy, and an almost 11-month-old girl. I'm a stay-at-home mom, and my husband has a very good job with a six-figure salary. I wanted to have a tubal after my fourth child, but my husband was opposed to me being sterile. After a lot of talk, I decided against anything permanent. Now that that baby is almost one, my husband has been talking about having one more to complete the family. I said that I wasn't ready to have another, and he said just think about it. I asked if he truly felt like a fifth would complete our family, and he said it would. I told him I wasn't ready for another baby yet, but I would consider it if I was able to have my tubes tied afterward. To be clear, I am not going to have a fifth child if I don't want a fifth child. If I decide that a fifth child is a good idea, then we'll start trying for a fifth. But if having my tubes tied is off the table, then I'm not going to even consider it. My husband said that I know how he feels about that and felt like I was giving him an ultimatum. He said it's not fair to ask him to compromise on his beliefs or his family size. He works a lot and doesn't see the amount of work that goes into raising 4 kids, especially when we're in quarantine and can't go anywhere. Until March, I had at least a little break with the oldest one in kindergarten, the second in preschool. This year's going to have one in first grade, one in pre-kindergarten, and one in preschool. But we might be homeschooling again this year. It's a lot right now, and a fifth child would be a horrible idea. I would consider it in the future, but only if I could guarantee this would be my last one. Am I the jerk? OP, this really just frankly comes down to a situation of this is your body and your choice. It's not fair that your husband seems to be trying to guilt tripping you into not doing what you want to do because he personally believes that you shouldn't. It is absolutely up to you. You shouldn't be letting that control you. And if you want to have another child, then do it. If you don't, then don't. Hey guys, just want to say thank you very much for reaching the end of this video. If you enjoyed, please hit that like and subscribe. It'll really help the channel grow. I greatly appreciate you all, and I hope to see you guys around.